22nd of May, Monday. So that's kind of where it's at. It's Monday. Fresh start of a week. You know, Monday still feels like Monday, even though I haven't worked, a 9-to-5 job for several years now. Ooh. Wow. I don't think about things in this way too much, but I just now thought about it. It's 2023, it's May. It was probably 10 years ago that I left my job. I call it retirement. Some say you can't call it that because you burned your bridges, you walked off, you made a statement, or called yourself making a statement by walking off the job because of some stuff that should have made the news about the agency. And I won't go into detail because of people and their litigation minded stuff these days. Let's just say that something was swept under the rug that unfortunately happens all the time to poor people. When you don't have money, things happen that shouldn't happen. And I thought my agency was above it. So it's 10 years ago that, if I am correct now, that I have been retired, I think. Wow. Anyway, to just talk a little bit about music, Jerry and Dave, I know you watch. I haven't given this a good listen yet, so I can't review it. I know it's good already, though, and I love your work, and I can hear that you've pushed yourselves harder just by the first track, which is the only one I've really absorbed. I can hear that you guys have pushed yourselves to improve on the first one. So bravo on that. Thank you, Trish, for the review of my album. If anyone else has mentioned the album and you want me to see it, let me know. I don't know that Don Campow watches my channel, but thank Don for playing the Muse on his radio show a few days ago. Okay, so this weekend I only went to one reunion affair, and I'm glad I only went to the one. It was good to see those people, other folks that might have been nice to see, but there were other folks who I really wanted to avoid. All the what they consider upper class or semi-rich Republicans that I went to school with, that I never had anything in common with in the first place. I didn't want to see them, so I avoided that. Almost saw Blake this weekend, and then he got called into work. I'm about ready to get started on the follow-up to the Muse. I've got the tracks lined up. I've got a vision already started. But the horns make a difference. They do. So, and I mean horns this time, not just trumpet, but I'm in the work with James as well. Just kind of musing on what's on my mind this morning before I show some records. And so I will. So I've been kind of digging into my techno pile since I was able to incorporate them. I have everything out in the shelves now, including my techno, which was sort of tucked away because I was out of room. But here's one, there's no cover, but it's two different artists on this. It's a True Soul release. On one side, it's a Joel Mull, and on the other side, it's Nihad, Tule, and Nima Khak with Chess. And that's the side that I like the most. Yeah, there is a bit of influence on that in my music, but I don't make techno music, as it were. I don't. So I hear this is being reissued and didn't even, again, I just stay in the moment, so time passes and I don't even realize how much time has passed. R.E.M. collapsed into now, which still seems like a new album in some ways now, except now that I have it in perspective. Their last album came out in 2011. Man, you know, I just stay in the moment, and so time just kind of gets suspended in some ways. So when I pull this to play it, it still feels like a new album, kind of. This is a very, very strong album. They went out on a high note. Every song on this is good. But I see that they're going to reissue it. I looked it up to see, they're reissuing it. Isn't this, can't you find this? And it's like, I was surprised to see what it's going for. Glad I bought it. As I've said in the past, I had the great pleasure of having my band Digital Sex open for R.E.M. when they played in Omaha on the Murmur tour. That was a high point, high night. It was a great night. We played well and we partied till dawn with R.E.M. It was fun. Eating opium with Michael Stipe. Yes. Here's one, boy, it was like a breath of fresh air to play this. It's something that doesn't get played often. Goes all the way back to like 1980, early 80s. John Wiggins, All the Truth at Once. I believe Mr. Wiggins has a career in Foley work or sound work in film. Where they create the fake sounds for scenes. This is wonderful collage sound work before samplers. And according to the album, it says the album was produced using coincidence as a method of producing all forms. Sounds from everywhere were recorded, sampled, synthesized. Okay, so there's the word sampled, so pardon me, sampling is involved. But this is wonderful. I love sound collage when it's done well. I also love just sitting in silence outside or sometimes inside, listening to the silence. Even with tinnitus, the ongoing head noise that I have and that some of you folks also have, I can hear silence. I can hear really quiet stuff. This is wonderful. I hadn't listened to that in a long time. Today is Goth Day, but so what? I'm not going to play goth music just because of that. And I still don't consider Susie and the Banshees goth. I just don't. Anyway. I'm thinking about the fact that the Cruel World Festival happened this weekend and that Susie had to play last night instead of Saturday night because of weather concerns. A friend of mine from Omaha who works at Homer's, Mark Manor, he's a local personality. He went there, and so he was been posting his pictures from quite a lineup, But it makes sense that you could get a lineup like that for a festival these days. All those bands from the past, everyone from Modern English to Iggy Pop, Gary Newman, the Vapors and stuff. Everybody Needs Work, Love and Rockets, Echo and the Bunnymen, all on the same bill. I can see, Mark, how that was worth it to Mark to travel out there just for the concert. I watched, thankfully, because of technology, and in that sense, I've got to see highlights of the festival because everyone's posting it on their phones. Okay. The other thing I played yesterday morning, wonderful. Forbidden Colors, David Sylvian and Ryuichi Sakamoto. Gorgeous song. And then the B-side from the soundtrack to the film, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. It's still sad. I'm still sad, literally, because of the passing of Ryuichi Sakamoto. Such a vital musician, very important to me still. Just his music is so vital. From the 90s, Burger Inc. Sort of trancey, repetitive, hypnotic electronics that just kind of pulsate and vibrate. This is exceptional. There's probably a lot of records like this, but I can't think of anything else that sounds like this. And I really like this. Once again, when I looked it up to see, is it available? This is, I guess, hard to find. I've had it quite a while. Okay, so yeah, I just some casual listening happened this weekend besides more yard work, getting my yard slowly together in the back. The front is okay, the back. And this is something that had a bit of folklore about it. Vashti Bunyan going on the road, trying to seek the simple life and stuff. And she ended up making this album, Just Another Diamond Day. First off, I love the graphics, the cover. It's just a wonderful image. It's very fitting of the songs. They're very simple. She actually does a song where she uses the melody for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and that was a little too twee for me. It was like, okay, the least you can do is come up with your own melodies, which mostly she does. So there's a charm to listening to this, and kind of like just like watching a good movie for some people, listening to music for me is like time travel, or just taking a vacation mentally through the music. And that happened when I played this the other day. Didn't get all the way through it because after a while it started to get a little samey and sing-songy, but it was nice. Vashti Bunyan. I still have a soft spot for progressive rock and the Italian school. Quite a bit of it in many ways has not aged well. There's a sense of youthful pretension in many of these records where people are just trying stuff. This is an example of that where it's good and also a little bit over the top. Buon, Vecchio, Charlie. This also has a different cover. I like the other cover better, but I had to get what I could get. It starts off with a classical theme that I know. If I got it, is it Hall on the Mountain King? I think that's where it starts. But then it gets into its own stuff and redeems itself. This is green vinyl, reissue. Strange image on the cover there. Strange. I don't speak Italian, so I just have to take the vocals as another instrument. When the vocals are good, it's great. Oh, I think I have the burn of the CD in here. I do, with the other cover. See, there's the other cover. That's cool. I like that better. Buon, Vecchio, Charlie. But the vocals, when they work, and oftentimes they're slightly operatic, they work. And then other times it's like, stop. Here's one where it really works. And it's amazing how young these guys were when they made this. Semiramis, Dedicato a Frazz. They were teens, I understand, when they put this album together. This is fantastic. Again, it's just like I described the other one. Elements of classical music woven into their own themes. This is really good, though. Strange cover. Fantastic. Okay, so I've only kept a small amount of my quote-unquote New Age albums because many of them have not dated well. They literally sound like wallpaper music, just faceless. Music that you would hear in the mall or eating breakfast, somewhere. This one is a keeper. Ralf Illenberger. Do you know this guy? Ralf Illenberger's Circle on the Narada Equinox. This was back when there was a big push by Windham Hill and these people. There is a relationship. Narada. Anyway, this is real pleasant ensemble work featuring a lot of guitar, acoustic guitar. It's pleasant and bright, like Sunday morning, sunshine type of, that's what I associate I remember certain Sunday mornings as a child when the sun would come up and it was just a feeling before going to church of it being a special, wonderful day. That's kind of what this sounds like for the most part. It's really pleasant and fresh. So I'm glad I kept it. Okay. Pull this. Thought I was just going to have a nostalgic, quick, couple of listens, and no, I ended up playing the whole album because this is damned good. Forgot how good this is and how timely and of the moment this is. Country Joe and the Fish, 1968. Feel Like I'm Fixin' to Die. And they started off with the Fish cheer. Give me an F, give me an I. And of course at Woodstock they changed it to the F-U. This is musically really strong. I was just like, I had forgotten. Like maybe I never knew, but I did. Because, and I used to have more of their albums. I'm sorry I sold the other one. This is really good. It goes through different music forms. You know how they used to do ragtime and stuff back here when it was still in our memory. That, it was that long ago that ragtime was still a part of living history. People who were doing ragtime, it wasn't that long ago. But into true psychedelia. Not just the music, but the words. This is a great album. It was a pleasant, kind of a surprise. So that's what I have. The only other thing to share with you is I took a trip down. I did some walking this weekend, and ended up at walking down to the market from the park, and decided to go to Vinyl Cup. I don't go to that store very often. And wow, I guess it's this time, but there was nothing in the store. The last time I was there, they had some interesting items, but they wanted too much money for them. This time there was hardly anything there of interest. So the only thing I found to buy was an album by the German band Atlantis, fronted by Inga Rumpf, who had the band Frumpy before this. I used to have a Frumpy album, and I sold it because, again, it was more on the funky, rocky side when I was wanting more space and prog in my collection. But this, I added it. This is their 1974 album. Actually, don't remember this album, seeing this album ever before, but I haven't been following the band. I remember their first two albums. And honestly, the reason that I went ahead and got this, because it was less than 20. It's on a Vertigo. It's a spaceship, but I like Vertigo. The swirls, of course, are the big collector's items, but in general, Vertigo as a label, I like it. So this is kind of punk rock, and it's, she's got a great voice. And the band is really strong. They back her well. It's spirited, it's well played. Probably won't play it too many times, but it was like, okay, I'll add this Atlantis. It fits. You know how some stuff fits. It fits my collection. So, latest update, which is not much of an update, is that I believe it's the end of this week that Martin Archer returns to England, and shortly after that, I hope to hear from him about how to I don't know, in order for people to get the muse in Europe, I don't know what link to post or the prices yet. That's what I'm waiting for Martin. He has to tell me what to do. There's only 10 copies waiting for that, but that's what's hopefully will happen at the end of this week. Thank you again, Trish, for the lovely review. I'm mainly glad that you like the music, and that's what's most important. I'm also glad to hear from you folks that you're hearing on your own stereos how good the CD sounds. It's not amateurish. It's as good as anything on the market. I'm so happy about that. I made a good album, and you should own it. You should. All right. Family, much love. Friends, much love. Folks, stay in touch.